All right, it's exciting times at iSatori. We know why? Because we're launching new, innovative products that we're excited about, what we do best, what we're passionate about, bringing new products to market that are innovative, that advance categories, and most importantly, that help our customers to build a better body. So, let's talk about our first product, Creatine A5X. We know creatine has been around for a very long time. It's probably, if not the most well-researched ingredient in sports nutrition for enhancing muscular performance. Okay? But we didn't want to just put creatine in a bottle. That's not what iSatori does. We're all about innovation. So we took creatine to another level, hence the name A5X. 5 advanced forms of creatine and supercharged with 2 additional ingredients, which we'll go through. So let's go through each component of the creatine, and I'll break down very briefly what each one is and why it's more superior. So first we have a very new and innovative form of creatine called creatine alpha amino and butyrate, mouthful. So AAB, and this is essentially a metabolite of leucine that's been bonded to creatine. So again, it's going to help with anabolism and the effects of building muscle. Next form is dicreatine malate. That's a creatine that's been bonded to malic acid, which is going to help with absorption. Next we have pure creatine monohydrate. Again, sort of the standard by which all creatines are measured. Creatine monohydrate, most well-researched ingredient in sports nutrition. I think there's well over 500 documented studies, safety, performance, and even for health reasons in particular with elders. Creatine anhydrous. This is the highest elemental weight of creatine. It's 99% creatine by weight. Creatine magnipower, which is creatine bonded to magnesium, one of the most abundant minerals in the body, again, to help with absorption of the creatine. So 5 advanced forms of creatine combined and supercharged with 2 ingredients that I'm excited that we're able to put in this formula. One is betaine anhydrous. So betaine has multiple studies with regard to enhancing strength. So again, part of the benefit of creatine in terms of what it does in the body, creating an environment for increased muscular performance, strength, and ultimately body mass gains. Betaine is going to help enhance the effects of creatine. And then agmatine sulfate. So agmatine is a metabolite of arginine. There's a lot less research on agmatine. Most of that is anecdotal at this point with regard to providing a superior pump than typical arginine. So we wanted to include that in there knowing that this is going to be a workout and performance product. So you've got 5 forms of creatine supercharged with betaine and agmatine, hence the name Creatine A5X, and again taking creatine to a whole nother level in terms of its performance. So let's take a step back and look at creatine and its different forms and essentially what they do in the body. And you can think of creatine as sort of the cellular energy inside the muscle. It's sort of the spark, if you will. Right? So it allows that muscle to contract so that you can produce more strength and power in the gym and hence develop lean body mass over time. And when you combine that with the betaine and the agmatine, I think it has a nice synergistic effect of really helping with the workout performance. And that's certainly what you can expect. One of the great things about Creatine A5X, because of the forms of creatine that we chose, is certainly there's no loading requirement, which is very typical of most sort of old school creatine thought in terms of loading the muscle cell. There's no bloating here because of the types of creatine. You're not going to get that water retention that you hear about sometimes as a common unwanted side effect. And then you're going to get more rapid absorption. So you're going to get rapid absorption through the gut and into the muscle in terms of that cell volumization. Getting more creatine in the muscle gives a better effect. What's great about Creatine A5X is that it's an unflavored powder. So it's a little bit tart, but it's very soluble, just a bit cloudy in regular water, but virtually tasteless, and you can mix it with anything, right? So we can add it to a protein shake, post or pre. You can add it to your aminos. You can drink it by itself. You can virtually add it to anything you want, and it's really not going to affect the flavor or the texture of whatever you're drinking or using. And it can literally be mixed with anything. You've got 50 servings or 50 scoops. There's 3 total grams of the Creatine A5X matrix inside each scoop. And again, if you look at documented research, you only need 3 grams on a daily basis to fully saturate and in effect, supersaturate the muscle with creatine. So you can have 50 servings, unflavored, no loading, no bloating, rapid absorption, and 5 advanced forms of creatine, supercharged with betaine and with agmatine sulfate. So we have a very superior form of creatine that's going to greatly benefit people who are working out in the gym and want to increase their strength, muscular performance, whether on the field or in the gym, and also with developing lean body mass. Okay? All right, so any questions?
There's a bunch of different studies that say taking before or taking after. What is your suggestion on it?
Good question. So taking creatine A5X prior to or post-workout. So if you do enough digging around, right, for research, you can almost find studies that have opposing views on virtually everything, right? So I don't think these are necessarily diametrically opposing views as much as they are trying to find the most advantageous time to take creatine. Now, what we do know is that there really isn't much difference between pre or post. So the way we suggest taking it is 1 hour prior or within 1 hour post, okay? Because the research kind of weighs out about the same. The key, though, with creatine is that it maximizes in the blood at about 1 hour post-consumption. So if you really want the full effect of creatine, you don't want to take it right 5 minutes before you walk in the gym, because it's probably not even going to be hitting and peaking in your blood until you're done working out. You want it taking effect while you're in the gym. So if I had my choice, I would probably say pre-workout, but you want to take it about 1 hour prior to your workout so it's at maximum levels while you're working out in the blood. Good question. Other questions?
Non-stimulant?
No stimulants. Creatine, none of the forms of creatine have any stimulants. Betaine does not have any stimulant. Agmatine does not have any stimulant effect. There are some studies on agmatine for a neurotropic effect, but in no way is it going to affect the central nervous system or make you feel stimulated.
And I'm sorry, you said 1 scoop a day?
You only need 1 a day. Now you can take up to 2 if you want. Some people just are larger in body weight, maybe over 200, 250 pounds. You may want to take 2 a day. You don't need to. Most studies are very conclusive that 3 grams taken every day over the course of a month will fully saturate the muscle with creatine and in fact put it in a supersaturated state.
As far as stacking this with like a BioGrow or a Maxon or anything of that nature, what sort of effects do you think that would have more so to muscle gains?
Well, the great thing about creatine is you can really stack it with anything. It's kind of the staple of any supplement program. And I think when you think about the way creatine works, right, it's probably most advantageous with BioGrow, because BioGrow is going to help stimulate protein synthesis, and creatine in some indirect ways helps with that. But if it's any other type of supplement, I think creatine is that one base supplement that you want to be consuming on a daily basis if you're trying to increase muscular performance, strength, and lean body mass. So yes, it can be stacked with virtually anything.
Now with the no bloating, when you were talking about holding water weight, a lot of people are worried about taking creatine because of the water weight, because of the monohydrate. Now, do the other forms like the dimalate help with that? Yeah, so there's a common misconception about monohydrate. Just because it's bonded to a water molecule makes you hold water. There's a misconception about what holding water means. So when you consume creatine, and one of the effects is cell volumization, which means taking water and driving it inside the muscle, and it expands the muscle size and thus creates an environment for increased muscular contractions, activity in the gym to enhance strength and eventually
building an environment for lean body mass improvements. But the way we typically think of bloating is water that's extraneous, that's outside the muscle cell, that you might see where you feel a bit bloated from water retention. So most people typically don't experience that unless they're probably eating more carbohydrates than they should, and their body's tending to hold and what we call, I don't want to get too technical, but spill water outside the muscle. But these forms of creatine should not, doesn't mean it'll prevent it from happening, but it shouldn't have any water retention issues in terms of a consumer or a person feeling like they're just very bloated. But you are going to feel more full because of the effect of creatine and its cell volumization, which means it's driving water inside the muscle. And some people just generally don't like that feeling of the way, it makes them feel fuller and the muscles feel, sometimes people call it a little softer. Maybe the muscle isn't as dense. But it shouldn't be that noticeable, even if it does. But, my guess is that that's just a common misconception that kind of gets thrown around a bit. Some women complain that, they don't like taking creatine because it makes them hold water. And while that can be true to some degree, it's probably more so that the water's being driven inside the muscle and they just don't like the way that feels.
So that could even, I know it doesn't claim it or we don't say anything about it, but it could also, with that driving water into the muscle cell, that could help with a bit of recovery because you're hydrating the muscle cell at the same time.
Well, yeah, our body's made of 70% water, right? The muscle has the ability to really expand, and having more water in there and the cell volumization is what actually creates the environment for the anabolism to occur. So you want that, but some people don't necessarily like the way that feels. Good question. Any other questions?
How long can you take it?
Well, typically with creatine, we always suggest about 8 weeks, no more than 12 weeks before taking, 2 to 3 weeks off, break. I know guys that take creatine all year round. There's been multiple safety studies. There's a lot of misconceptions about cramping and causing dehydration. Creatine doesn't cause those things. What causes that is you're not drinking enough water and you're very athletic and you're causing your water to basically be depleted. You probably don't have enough electrolytes in you. Now, we still advise that you should continually, as an adult male, probably drink at least a gallon of water a day and make sure you're fully hydrated. But creatine isn't going to cause any type of dehydration. But about 8 weeks is a good, time period for creatine before kind of flushing your system out, giving it a break for 2 to 3 weeks.